For this video, I'm going to be using a fresh Create React App application. If you want to follow along and don't have a React application ready, you can pause this video and watch the suggested video above. There, I go through the process of creating your first React application with Create React App. Let's get started. I have my first React App project open in Visual Studio Code. And the first thing I want to show is the package.json. This file contains all the dependencies or libraries that the project will be using. Out of the box, Create React App does not come with Redux or React Redux. That means that the first thing we need to do in order to use Redux is to install it in our project. Let's do that. You can open PowerShell in the directory where you created your application. In my case, it is at C POC first React app. With the terminal, you're going to install Redux and also React Redux. So let's type yarn add Redux. That by itself would install Redux, but we also want React Redux. So let's add it to the list. And now let's run the command. If we visit our package.json once again, we'll see both React and React Redux added to our dependencies. I'm going to divide the next concepts into two. One, setting Redux, and the other, using Redux. Let's start by setting Redux. Redux is a state container, meaning that we can save our application's state in Redux. For that to happen, a Redux store needs to exist. So create a new folder inside of the src or source folder. We will call this folder config. And let me just be clear that for Redux, it is not important if you create this file with the name config or if you create the store somewhere else. This is just for organizational purposes. Now, inside of that config folder, let's create a new file called store.config.js. And again, you could call the file just store.js or store.conf.js. That is not important. What is important is that in this file, we will create our Redux store. First, we need to import a create store from Redux. So import create store from Redux. Make sure that you use the curly braces to import create store. Next, we need to call the create store function, and we will store it in a constant called store. And finally, we will export the store. We're almost done here, but not quite. First, if we run the store like that, it would give us an error. But what I want to focus on is that if the store did run like that, we wouldn't be able to save anything to the store, or if we wanted to retrieve any data, well, there is no data there yet. Let's start by having some data in the store. The create store function accepts a few arguments. The first one is a reducer function. I'll come back to that one. Let's for now just add an arrow function that receives a state and returns that same state. The second argument is the initial state of the store. Let's add something to the store. I'm going to create a constant called initial state. which will be an object, and I'll add a key to it called names. Let's make the value be an array, and I'll add one name to the array, Andres. Now let's pass that constant to create store. As a second argument, initial state. To test that we actually have a store and it is working, let's open the app.js file and import our store config. Config store config.js. And when the app component runs, we will console log the store. Now we can run our application with yarn start and open a browser in localhost 3000. Now we can open the console by right-clicking anywhere and going to inspect, change to console, and we can see our store object. We can see that we can dispatch actions, subscribe to the store, and get the state of the store. Let's do that. Let's get the state of the store. I'll go back to app.js and log store.getState and save. If we go back to the console, we now see the state of the store. And it contains a names array with one value, Andres. That's great. We have a store. It has some initial data, and we were able to see it. As a quick recap, in this video, we talked about what we need to install in order to set up and use Redux, and we focused on setting up Redux. In the next video, we will take a look at how to update the store by creating reducers and dispatching actions, as well as retrieving data by subscribing our components to the store. If you found this video useful, please click the like button. And if you would like to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you next time.